You know, this is a widely unpopular opinion, I guess. I don't really know that it's an opinion. It's an unpopular topic. And it's unpopular when you start talking about obesity and being fat because the majority are just that. A full 70% of Americans now are obese. And if you start breaking it down state by state, some of them are up around 80% or into the 80s. 7 out of 10 people are obese, and some of them morbidly obese. Now, I want to be clear here up front. I don't hate fat people. I'm not trying to bash anybody, but this is a serious concern now. I mean, we've gone way past being serious. The human body is designed to work physically. Every part in it, all the blood systems, everything is about movement, flexibility, productivity, and work. And these people now, and again, I don't want to mistake my seriousness on the matter for anger, because that's not the thing. But it is serious. And these people have stretched their bodies to these gargantuan, misshapen proportions that boggle the mind. And I am not kidding around. How did we get here? Well, bite by bite. And that's how you're going to get back. We're going to deal with several parts of this problem, and that's what it is. It's a problem. And a big part of the problem is the truth. People don't like it. They don't want to hear it. I'm not concerned about feelings when feelings start interrupting what is true. That's a big problem to me. A big part of this is doctors. And doctors will not tell the truth. Now, what is the truth? Can you make more money off of a healthy, fit person? Well, they ain't going to come see you. They're not going to pay the visit. I mean, at a minimum, what is a doctor visit now in America? $120, something like that, $130, depends on if you pay cash the same day. But if you're morbidly obese, I'm not feeling well. I got this cough that won't go away. My knees hurt. My ankles hurt. My back is just killing me. It's because you're designed to carry you, not 3 of you. So yes, your ankles are going to give out, your knees are going to cave in, and your back is killing you because there's this ginormous pouch on the front that you're toting around all day. Man, that's a huge stress on the human body. But the doctors won't be honest and just say, look, man, you got to lose some weight. You just have to. What do? Oh, well, let's write a script. Maybe let's look into cutting into your knee and, tinkering around there, see if we can't reinforce it somehow. Maybe your ankles, you have a degenerative condition. They just won't be honest. And that's a meal ticket, see? Because then people keep coming back. They get you on the yo-yo program. Someone, in my estimation, under about 35 years of age, should never, very seldom be going to see a doctor for anything short of an emergency, a broken arm or a massive contusion that you just can't stop the bleeding. Those are legitimate causes to go to the doctor. Nobody should be going to the doctor because they don't feel well. That's a dietary concern. Then we have to account for what they've done to the food. The food isn't food anymore. It looks like food. It tastes like what we assume food should be like. But if you ever go and have a meal at someone who has actually prepared a homemade meal, it is so good. You could have 76 helpings of that stuff. It just tastes different because it lacks all the preservatives and all the crap that they pack in the foods. I have made homemade bread before. You got about 3 days on a loaf, and that 3rd day, she's getting pretty tough to choke down. It's dried out. It'll start molding in 4 to 5 days. You got a small window to finish up a little loaf of bread. And you better get her done, or she's going to waste. But a loaf of bread that's manufactured somewhere and goes and sits on the truck and sits in the warehouse and sits in the back room, then it makes it to the shelf, then you purchase it, and how long does a loaf of bread last? Just your average run-of-the-mill grocery store loaf of bread. A month? I mean, that is crazy. So whatever they're packing into that to last that long, well, how's your body going to break that down? Stomach acid is stout, man. It'll chew up. It can chew up a penny, probably. I mean, it is rough stuff. And you know that because when you projectile vomit, when you have legitimate flu, you know, that burn in the throat, that's your stomach acid and bile and whatnot. But all of those preservatives packed in there, man, you ain't got a fighting chance. So you're losing ground with every bite. Your body just can't break it down. So what is the solution to that? To eat less. Now we get another factor in here. We don't move like we used to. It used to be nothing. It was commonplace for a farmer or a welder or a mechanic or what have you to work a long day, and he'd come home and he was starving, ravenously starved. And so he got mounds of food on his plate. You're trying to refuel for all that energy that you've burned off. Your body says, I need fuel. Well, most of that's been taken away. We don't hardly have factory jobs in America anymore. But the mounds of food keep on. You come home from sitting in a chair at the office all day, even though you had a lunch. I am just starved. Mounds of food on the plates. 1 plate, 2 plates, 2.5, 3. Might as well clean up that little bit extra there. No sense in having that left over. The kids didn't eat that. Rest of their prepackaged crap, I'll finish it off here. And look at what has happened. I have known personally women that were pregnant, and they announce it to the family and friends and whatnot. And hey, I'm expecting, oh, wow, wow, this is a big event now in life. And these women, some of them, have been so big before pregnancy that I forgot they were pregnant. And all of a sudden there's a baby. It's like, oh, you're babysitting? No, dummy. Like I'm the dummy. And I am, but no, it's our child. Oh, I forgot you were even pregnant. This is prior to pregnancy, and here's another lie and excuse. Well, you have 2 or 3 children, and see, you know, if you're not gaining weight, yeah, 30, 40 pounds per kid, and then the child is born, and then slowly you go back to your normal weight in theory. But if you were overweight before you had the kid, you can't just lie to yourself. Well, I've had 4 children. Now, how do we know this? How do we know I'm not just full of BS? Because we can go back and look at history. There was women that had 6 kids, 8 kids, and they might have had a little extra weight, especially in the arms. But they weren't morbidly obese. Their knees weren't caving in on them, trying to carry that load around. These are the lies that we keep telling ourselves. If the birds could, why you gotta, I'm trying to do a thing. I've also heard from various people, because almost everybody I know is overweight, but anytime the topic comes up, I've heard this exact quote from various people, and that quote is, we can't all just be string beans. As if it's some kind of genetic malfunction that they didn't have any choice over. And there again, that isn't the truth. And we know that because you can go back and look at historical figures. Look at a picture of the city from any time prior to 1960. Masses of people that are not related. They just happen to live in the same area. And they're all thin. You might see one guy that's a little bit poofier in the photo, than he should be. Everybody else is thin. Because they moved. They worked. They did things. And most of that is gone in America. They have Roombas now that'll vacuum your house because I guess that was so much effort. I don't have time to vacuum. That is not the truth. You do have time. We all have the same amount of time in a day. It's how you organize it and spend it. And if your day is spent in the minivan shuttling kids from here to there and everywhere, all you're doing is creating an unsettled mind. You're training that kid in the brain. I've got what's next? What's next? What do you got? What do you got? So if they have to sit for 5 minutes, and they do in school, or they used to, and they have to study something out and think it through and be still, they're not used to that. And it's difficult. Well, ADHD, TV, medication, get them calmed down. That's meth. In essence, look it up. You'll see what I mean. How did it become problematic for someone to sit down and focus? Because their whole life has been, that's the way it is. From the cartoons that flash and cut frames. Watch an episode of SpongeBob with the sound muted and look at how many times they flash that frame. I'm getting off track here, but it all ties in together. Then the parents perpetuate it, zooming them. We got soccer practice, and then Maddie had to go to such and such gathering, and you just zooming around. I'm just so tired of running around, and I'm sure you are tired. We'll just hit the drive-thru on the way home. There's more crap that isn't really. I mean, it's palatable, but it's costly, and it isn't food. The whole idea of food and diets, and that's another lie. Well, I gotta be on a diet. Your diet is what you eat for the rest of your life. You're always on a diet. What is it? If you look at nature, animals eat the same 7 things their entire life. It's fuel. It's not entertainment. This notion that because we're having a gathering, we got to have some food there is bizarre to me. Churches, and I did a church video. I got part of what I wanted to across. I don't know why I do that. I'm not going to put a link up there. People do that, they almost never work anyway. But anyway, never mind that. Churches are one of the worst. Come on, it's a potluck. Or we're doing this activity to help out the church. We're going to paint 2 rooms or whatever, and we'll have a dinner. You have some concerns about it? We'll meet after church here. Let's go to the restaurant. Now, there is a tie-in with food, dining with someone, supping with them, breaking fast. These are where all these words come from. It's one of the most intimate things you can do with someone. I get that. I understand that. But every single occasion has to have food? And it's not just food. It's this whole spread. You got to have the pre-food, the dips and the chips and the hors d'oeuvres and the onion blossom thing. That's a meal in itself. No. We're just getting started, pal. Then you get the meal. Well, then we got to have some desserts. Because who doesn't like dessert? Man, I love desserts. But there's only so much room. So we ain't got time to vacuum. We got the room, but now they have them for your yard. So you don't have to mow your yard. Get some activity pushing it. They have a robot yard. What are we doing with all this time other than driving around the kids, shuttling them around? The kids are fat now. And how could a parent tell a kid, you need to stop eating them potato chips while they're sitting there eating them? Another factor we need to throw in real quick is this notion that there's going to be some uproar in the country. We're going to have to defend what's ours. You ever see the movie The Patriot? Great movie. And at the start of it, the son gets killed, so now Mel Gibson snapped and he's going to go fight. And he has his younger kids reload and they're moving through the trees, running back and forth. You can't imagine how many people, this is real life I'm talking about, or what passes for it. Some of these guys always carrying, loaded to the gills, got one in the trailer. I'm ready. You just try it. I'm ready. See what happens. They couldn't even complete that scene that Mel Gibson was in, running between the trees. Oh, I got a bad ankle. I'm winded. Try to focus and aim and hold steady when you can't catch your breath. You think you're ready. You ain't ready for nothing, man. And that's why this country is just prime pickings for a takeover. I mean, for 3 hours into the battle, you're going to be hungry. Well, you're not hungry. Your body's dying. You're suffocating it. You're probably thirsty and dehydrated. Drink a ginormous thing of water and see if those hunger pains don't just subside. It's sad, man. It makes me sad. Go to the store. Take a look around just as an observer. Just look and see how many thin people you can find. Because everybody else is obese. Especially if you're young. It's important, man. It needs to be discussed, and it needs to be discussed honestly. And the biggest thing you can do is move more and eat less. Your body will find its own natural weight. That's the beauty of the human body. That's the way it was designed. Move more, eat less. You don't have to eat nothing but rabbit food and the lettuce and the stuff. Eat whatever you want. Just less of it and less often. Pound the water. Water breaks up fat molecules. I mean, this is not rocket surgery here. A guy like me can figure it out. I do appreciate your time. I think it's a serious thing. I think we need to seriously evaluate it and have some honest conversations about it. Not with your feelings, just with the truth. Thanks for watching. See you next time.